Hello, everyone. Geminme here, Catherine Farida. I really want to congratulate you for making it this far in the 21-day self-discovery challenge. As I always say, this has not been easy for any of us, right? Because there's a lot of digging, there's a lot of discovery, probing, uncomfortable questions that we have to ask ourselves. But I do believe that is necessary. And we all have the power within us to obviously get to know ourselves and see what it is that we really want, who we are, what we want for our future, and what are those things that we want to change for the better for our future self. And so we've made it this far, right? We have gone through self-awareness, self-inquiry, and now we're going to self-discipline, right? Self-discipline is often, I would say, the hardest, right? We have identified, questioned our current beliefs, values, strengths, and weaknesses, right? And it's so important to kind of move up to this stage where we will make the decision, we will make a decision to commit to this journey and this transformation. And that takes obviously a lot of discipline, a lot of willpower, motivation, right? And it is one of the hardest, right? I will not sit here and say to you that it is going to be easy because it's not, right? We have to make decisions every day when we wake up. Like, am I going to the gym? Am I going to work out? Am I going to eat healthy? Am I going to drink water? Am I going to, stick to my routine, etc. Right? We make decisions each and every day. And it's hard. It's hard to keep our word to ourselves, but it takes obviously this work that we're doing to be like, no, like I'm gonna put myself first. I'm gonna make this action, make this commitment, make this, routine for myself because I deserve it. Because I know that once I go to the gym, after I go to the gym, I feel so relieved. I feel so pumped. I feel so accomplished, right? And it's obviously going to the gym is just one, let's say one task that could really transform your life. But whoever goes to the gym, I'm pretty sure they could tell you that it takes a lot of willpower and self-discipline to get there, right? Some people do it every day and it's like part of their routine, right? And they stay committed to that routine because they know all the value that comes just from like, moving your body. Um, so self-discipline it is, we have to build that muscle and that's why we're here. So what does self-discipline require, right? Like I said, it requires that decision, that commitment to yourself, right? You need to make a decision and know that you need change, right? There's need for change and wanting it bad enough that you're like, no, I don't care if I'm lazy. I don't care if something comes up. Like, this is important. This is priority for me, right? You might have the motivation here and there, like, oh, I'm motivated to go because I know I want to lose weight. But there might be those days where you wake up and you're like, oh, I don't really feel like it, right? And that's where the discipline comes in, where you're like, oh, I don't really feel like it, but I need to. I have to commit to myself and make this decision for me, right? And it's a challenging thing, right? Because of different moods, right? We might not feel like it, the circumstances, right? The thoughts, how we feel, what we think at the moment, etc. Right? And those are the things that we have to battle and kind of be like, no, like my current mood is not gonna, you know, affect my future, let's say, outcomes, right? Of like having that body that I want, or having that mental health that I want, right? Or having that weight that I want, or feeling energetic, right? So not letting those current moods and emotions, right? The energy and emotion, things that are temporary, if you think about it, right? Like every day we have a new mood, we have a new feeling, right? And if we just let all the moods of all the days kind of impact our ability to succeed and our ability to make, decisions, our ability to take action, right? If you think about it, day by day, time passes, and at the end of the day, you don't really meet that goal or that body or that dream that you want. So don't let temporary things affect it, right? And it's obviously easier said than done, but it's just being cautious of those things when they do come up and being like, this is a temporary feeling. I'm just gonna take control of this time and actually do what I want, right? Consistency over motivation. Staying consistent, staying true to what you want, even when you don't want to do it, right? There's some days obviously if you're feeling sick or if there's like big things that come up and you're not able to stay committed to the plan. Like things happen, right? Life is life. We get it. But when you're excused of like things coming up all the time, that's life. Like we have to kind of learn to ride the waves, the interruptions, the distractions, and just stay true and focused to our actually dream. And trust me when I say, I'm here sitting and telling you this because I've obviously learned it and studied it myself, and I know that it's true to be successful and efficient, right? Because I've seen my mentors, my coaches who actually do this, right? And that's the key to like getting things done, right? Because you're not gonna feel like it every day. But when you're goal driven and you're like, I really wanna like, make this happen, you'll find the means, right? The means over the matter, right? The matter that is like in your way of getting to that goal. So ask yourself, what are you willing to pay, right? And sacrifice to get where you want to be. I'm gonna say that again. What are you willing to pay and sacrifice to get where you want to be? And there's always something that we have to pay or give in or give out or, give up, right? There's something we have to give always to get where we want to be, right? Like if you want to lose weight, pretty sure you have to give up, eating at night, sweets, right? Carbs for the most part. There is, you could eat it here and there, right? Not like every day, all day at night, like if you're doing all that, obviously you're not going to lose weight, right? But you have to give out something. You have to pay and sacrifice to be able to get to your goal. And that goes for everything, right? I use the losing weight thing because it's most common. And obviously I'm also in that journey. Um, but yeah, like it goes for anything, like a job. If you want a house, obviously you have to save, right? You have to do the pre-approval. You have to reach out to the lender. You have to reach out to a realtor. You have to, shop, go to Zillow, like there's so many steps. You're like, oh, damn, like I have to do all that. Trust me, I've bought a house. It's a long process, but it's the best decision and the best, like, sacrifice that I did. Because trust me, like buying this house, it was a sacrifice in all means, right? Like we had to obviously be right in numbers, right? Save, get rid of debt. We had to like follow up with 1,000 people, go to houses here and there, like exhausting, like, oh, we didn't get your offer, right? So it was all a process that we had to give our time, our effort, our energy, right? There was times where I didn't even want to email anybody. I didn't want to call anybody. I didn't want to like receive any calls or messages from like this process because I was exhausted. I was so tired, right? But I was like, you know what? Let's do this. Like I want to get a house. So I had to like give it my all, and we made it. We did it together, obviously a team effort. It wasn't alone, but most of the work and paperwork, like it was on me. It was on me, following up with everybody, paperwork, emails, calls, you name it. Most of it was me. But yeah, it was all that I wanted, and you had to do the actions that it takes to get there. So I always bring this up, right? The goals. It's always important to go back to the goals of why we're doing this, right? Why are we continuing with this 21-day challenge? And the purpose of it is to understand yourself better, right? I feel like in this world of distractions, of, so much going on, right? We're like get lost in the sauce, right? We get lost in like what other people think of us, what we think of us, right? Like what people like labels that people put on us, right? And just like baggage of like, generational trauma, certain things that you were, but you're not no longer, right? And kind of relearning like who it is that you want to be, who it is that you actually are to the core, right? Kind of taking off these layers of labels or things, expectations that people have put on you. So understanding yourself better, right? Understanding what it is that you want, who you truly are, where you truly want to be, what you truly stand for, right? And that obviously creates awareness, right? Self-awareness of those feelings, of those actions, and those behaviors that you have, right? Why do you have them? Are they serving you well, right? Are there things that maybe you want to change in the future because they're creating conflict in your relationships or at work, etc., right? And that self-awareness is so beautiful because you just change. Once you're aware of yourself and those things that um, you do see the red flags when you do certain things that you're like, oh, that didn't feel right. That's not me. That was a trigger. That was mean. That was rude, etc. Right? Setting personal goals. So from understanding yourself, right, you will find and be like, oh, like I really, really want this in the future. Like this is truly what I want for my future, my family, myself, my future self, right? And setting like, okay, like being intentional. Because I feel like I was talking to my fiance yesterday, is I feel like I don't want you know, us to just like pass by and leave life to be at chance. I want to be intentional on setting personal goals and actually meeting them. Like us humans, we have so much potential in life. And I feel like most of us, if not, all of us in certain phases of our lives, are just like going with the flow. Like, no, don't go with the flow. Like, you have so much beauty, so much opportunity, so much magic to use to your advantage, to use for your growth, for like potential. You have so much potential to do and you could achieve it. So don't like just go with the flow. Okay. Overcoming limited beliefs, right? So apart from obviously this discovery and kind of digging deep, you will find out that some of the things that you believe or the things that you do are no longer a thing that you want to carry on with your life, right? It could be beliefs of your self-image, right? Self-image, of relationships, of other people, of religion, like you name it, right? Just limiting beliefs of your parents, your grandparents, your family have put on you, right? Because you obviously grew in this environment and you have internalized it and created it as your own, right? And I truly believe that if like we do a lot of inner work and self-development as we're doing right now, right? Our wellness and physical health and emotional health truly improves, right? Like, so we're improving our whole being, right? Like this is a holistic practice, right? Because we're not only learning about ourselves, being more aware of our body, of our desires, of our personal goals, future goals, but we're like, okay, like I'm at peace, I feel more clear, more clarity, I feel more centered, like I have more control of my life because I know what's going on, I know what I feel, I know what I want, and that truly gives you like another perspective of yourself, of the world, and that changes, like how you react to things, right? You have more peace of mind, you feel more relaxed, right? And it's truly a journey, right? It doesn't happen over time, as I always say, but it is a stepping stone to like feeling more whole, um, and more happy. And so we have gone over the self-awareness, the self-inquiry. We're now going to self-discipline, right? Going over to what that is and how we can do it. And yeah, and then we have our last self-development, which is my favorite. So self-discipline, right? So self-discipline is the ability to control one's impulse, right? Emotions, behaviors to achieve a certain goal or objective, right? It involves setting goals, making plans, and then taking consistent action, right? Taking action to achieve those goals. Even in the face of obstacles, distractions, right? Developing a self-discipline requires practice, persistence, and determination. Some strategies for improving self-discipline includes setting clear and specific goals, breaking down larger goals into smaller, or manageable task, creating a schedule or routine, prioritizing tasks, avoiding procrastination, and holding yourself accountable to those actions, right? So in a nutshell is, putting your goal and your not destination, but like where you want to go, like, you know, first. Like it doesn't matter if something comes up, if you don't feel like it, like you still gonna stick to that goal because you want that end result. Right. And it's so important to focus because if you think about it, every day we're gonna have distractions. Every day we're gonna have a certain like feeling about it. We're not gonna feel like it, like every day there's gonna be an excuse why we shouldn't do what we want to do. Right. The devil is always at work to like distract us from where we could be. Like I said, we have so much potential, but I feel like we often lose that, right? Because we're so distracted and caught up in maybe those limiting beliefs or, oh, I can't do this. I don't have the resources. I don't have the money. I don't have the support, like just like stuff that are not true. Like you have it within you. You have the power within you. So what you have to do, right? You have to decide. You have to commit to succeed, right? You have to make that decision. Like, how am I going to do this? When? If you could do it right now, like, just do it, right? Because, oh, yeah, I'll do it later. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. I'll do it on Monday. I'll do it next year. Like, time is flying by, right? So I feel like focus nowadays is very rare, really focusing on a goal, because of what I just said, right? The different distractions that we have. Like I feel like we're being pulled in 100,000 directions, right? And we let it, right? We let it. We're not very intentional and specific of like where we want to invest and really like put our efforts and energy. And I feel like we have to be more mindful of that, right? Because if not, then you're going to be scattered in all directions and you're not going to really get to that point where you want to get or that goal, right? And take action. I feel like, yeah, like planning obviously helps if you've been using the strategy tool of like allocating and putting like your goals for each day, setting up the time, and that helps you organize and get clarity on those things that you want to achieve that day. But if you're like, you know what, this is not on my list, but I feel like it's gonna like push me, like this is gonna be big, it's gonna like help me like get that momentum, that fire that I need, just do it, right? Take that action. Because I feel like sometimes we overthink it and like we don't have to have everything perfect or all our ducks in line to like take action, right? Like, for example, when I started my podcast, like I didn't know what I was doing. I just started recording. I did like a clip art. I, helped ask a few friends like that were doing it, and I just did it. Like I didn't have to have everything perfect, and I still don't, right? It's a progress that I'm like willing to take, right? To be not perfect. We're not never perfect or we never get to perfection. But I'll get better over time when I know more about it. I keep practicing, I look at different techniques or methods to like, do what I gotta do. But I just started, right? And I didn't overthink it. I was overthinking it for a while though, right? But I took that action. I was like, you know what? I have the time. I'm just gonna do it. This is a time for me to do it and just take action. So I launched it and here we are. It's been a year since I launched my podcast and it's been a success. And the same thing goes for like coaching, right? Like overthinking it and thinking, oh, I'm not ready. Like I am ready. I've been able to help other people. I've been helping other people. I've been working on myself. I have so much knowledge and love and support to give. So here I am doing this, for you. Um, and like I said, right, so planning, consistency is key. I feel like once we are intentional about planning it and adding it to our calendar, we feel more committed and more accountable, right? Because it is in our calendar. But if you let it to chance, right, like I said, don't let your life to be at chance and be like, oh, it might happen, right? Or I might do it tomorrow. If you put it in your list, it's intentional, is on there, you have to do it, right? It might happen that maybe you had an emergency, something came up, right? Life. But it's on your list, so you're accountable now. It's either you do it a little later in the day, or you might move it to the next day if you're really, really committed to this, right? This is your journey, but I'm just giving you, the ins and outs. And it's not that it has to be perfect, but it has to be purposeful and you have to want it to actually make it happen. So, 6 benefits of self-discipline, right? So, like I said, self-discipline, it's the ability to prioritize, right, your task, stay focused, avoid distractions, right? And once you do all these little things, right, it could be in increments, slowly but surely, right? It's not going to happen overnight. It leads to productivity. You see the progress in that task and that goal that you have, and you're more efficient because you're like, oh no, like, oh, if you're like, oh, I have to go to the gym today, and then your friend calls you like, oh, let's go to happy hour. You're like, oh no, I'm going to the gym. Like, sorry, this is more important to me, right? And it's about priorities, right? Like if you would have, call me maybe 5, 10 years ago and be like, oh, like let's go to happy hour, I will probably go to happy hour, right? Um, and it depends what it is that you want in your life, right? Do you prioritize, drinking or time with friends over yourself, right? And if you do, then most likely at the end of that happy hour, you're gonna be like, oh damn, like I didn't put myself first. I didn't go to the gym. I don't feel good. I'm not like maybe, drunk or whatever, not feeling my best. Right. So it's like priorities, what it is that you actually give priority to and that actually impacts your life in a positive way. Right. I mean, going out is not bad, right? We are friends, but you first, you could be like, oh, I'm going to the gym and then maybe we can hang out later, but this is first, right? This is my priority. Um, so once you have more self-discipline, it can help you maintain healthy habits, right? Because you're like, okay, like this is my habit now. I go to the gym every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday, etc., right? Or I eat, a balanced diet, right? I sleep from like 10 to like 8 or, 10 to 7, whatever it is, whatever your hour is. But like creating that habit and that routine is really important because then it's like effortlessly, right? Like you don't have to kind of put time or thought into it. It's just kind of do it, right? It's part of who you are, part of what you do. And avoiding unhealthy behaviors, right? Like smoking, excessive drinking. I feel like this is very important. Like I was talking to somebody, I think it was yesterday, and I told them like, oh, I believe like before like our parents and grandparents, like they didn't know what really like mental health or like illness was, right? Because they were suppressed it with like cigarettes, drugs, sex, and alcohol, right? Like this is obviously something that people did a lot before. Probably still doing it, but like that was a method maybe of like, people didn't know what was going on, so let me just drink. And most of our like cultures, let's say Hispanic or Latinx cultures really go by like drinking, right? Like if you go to like Dominican Republic, everybody drinks for everything, right? Like that's water to them. And there's a lot of trauma in that, atmosphere. There's a lot of, hidden anxieties, depression, you name it, right? And that's what they do. They just drink to kind of suppress that. And I've seen that, in multiple people, but we have to be cautious of those things, right? Because obviously, yeah, you can have an occasional drink with a friend, but if you're drinking every day or every weekend, like nonstop blackout, then you most likely will feel very depressed the next day. And then that obviously marks the mood, if you will, for your week, right? And then Friday, Saturday, you do it all over again. So you have to be cautious of how these things affect your moods and like why you're doing them, right? Um, so self-discipline can help you achieve your goals, right? You're both personal and professional, and it can help you stay consistent towards your actions and stay motivated even when you face obstacles. Like I said, obstacles and distractions will come, but if you stick to your word, if you stick to that plan, it will be easier to kind of fight and achieve it, right? When you're able to accomplish the things you set out to do, you feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. You're like, yeah, like I did it. Like I didn't let, life to chance. I didn't let my distractions, kind of inhibit me from getting to the goal or to what I need to do for myself. Like put yourself first. I feel like sometimes we put other people, other tasks first, and then we feel guilty. We're like, oh damn, like I didn't do this for myself. And then we're like salty, right? We might be salty towards other people, whatever it is, because you're like, oh, like I didn't put myself first. I didn't fill my cup first. Like I'm here like doing the most for other people, but I don't do the things that I want to do for myself, right? So that's so, so important. And that obviously the pride of the accomplishments is it boosts your self-esteem and your confidence, right? Because you're like, oh, like I got this, like I got me, I'm doing what I gotta do. You feel more pumped, you feel more confident because you're sticking to the word that you said that you're gonna do for yourself, right? Self-discipline can help you communicate effectively, right? Manage your emotions, right? Being more aware of those things, avoid impulsive and harmful behaviors, right? That can constrain your relationship with others, right? So, like I said, when you're self-aware and you can figure out when somebody triggers you or what you're gonna say, how you react, and just certain things that you're like, okay, like this doesn't feel right. I'm not gonna do this. You know what I mean? And it improves your relationships for sure. Um, Self-discipline can obviously help you save money, right? Stick to that budget. Has been one of the struggles and challenges of mine, and I'm working on it. And if you are um struggling with this as well, I encourage you to do it. And I'm also reading a book that I will recommend here. I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Stephan. He is amazing. There's actually a series on Netflix of him, and he's great, with money, budgeting, and all that stuff. But yeah, if you are disciplined with your money, then you can lead to a greater financial stability and security. And I feel like that's what we all want, right? But we're not actually taking the actions that it leads to that. And that's what the unfortunate thing is. Right. So strategies towards discipline, right? So obviously, like I said, is one of the hardest steps of this, challenge, but it is possible. And it's, increments slowly but surely. Like I said, it's not going to happen overnight, but setting goals, right? Adding it to your calendar. To achieve self-discipline, you need to have a clear idea of what you want to achieve, right? Write down your goals, break them out down into smaller manageable tasks, right? Do a to-do list, do it like, for the week, for the month, right? Or for the next 3 months or whatever it is, depending on what your goal is, right? Create a routine, right? Establishing a routine is so helpful, but so hard, for maybe people who are not very good with routines or like, repeating stuff. But establishing a routine can help you stay on track, right? Avoid distractions, set a regular schedule for tasks such as exercise, work, and leisure activities, right? Prioritizing tasks, focus on the most important tasks first, right? Avoid procrastinating, using prioritization methods such as Eisenhower matrix, right? It could help you identify which tasks are urgent and important. There's many tasks and things that you can seek out in trying to prioritize your task. I feel like when you're like overthinking of like, oh, this to-do list is too long and too much and right for now, what I do is like just get up and do one. Like stop overthinking it and just do like maybe a small one or big one. But as long as you do one and you're like, oh my God, like I did it, right? Like one down, you scratch it off. You feel good about yourself, even if it wasn't a big one. But at least having accomplished one, it helps you. It helps me. Okay. Hold yourself accountable, be accountable for your actions, and take responsibility for your mistakes, right? You can do this by keeping a journal or using a productivity app to track your progress. So staying accountable, like I said, your agenda, your to-do list, you're like, okay, this is what I want to do for the day, scratching it off, coming back to it, sticking to the plan, right? Planning myself really helps me. Because if I don't look at my calendar, let's say Sunday, I didn't look at my calendar, I didn't look at to-do list, I didn't do anything, I forgot to go to church because I was here living my best life and I forgot about life, right? And I don't want that to happen again. So I'll be more intentional about like setting church on Sundays because church obviously is a Sunday task, but also like I try not to do anything else other than just live my life on Sundays, right? Like I'm not like planning or doing unless obviously I have a commitment or something, family oriented or something that is actually gonna happen. But I just try to like, go with the flow on Sundays. Um So practice mindfulness, right? Mindfulness, like a meditation, can help you stay present, focus, and reduce stress, right? It helps you improve the ability to resist to distractions. Um, I believe meditation really grounds me and it gives me that peace that I need. So when I feel overwhelmed, very anxious, right? Or depressed, I'm like, you know what, let me look for something that's going to boost that mood because I'm blessed. When you feel that resistance, that anger, that sadness, that depression, that anxiety, just know that you could change your mood, you could change your circumstances. You have the power to do that, right? It could be with calling a friend, it could be with, a song, Christian song or worship song. It could be, reading a book. It could be a YouTube motivational video. It could be, reading the Bible. It could be so many things, a meditation, right? That could, kind of ground you and relax you. So just know that you have, the decision, you have the power to change your current moods and circumstances and whatever situations, right? Um, so distractions, right? How we eliminate that. Turn off notifications, if you have to. I put my phone on do not disturb, because I'm like, I feel like every time our phone goes off, it's like a distraction. Like you believe or think that you have to constantly go on it and check it out and see like who's texting you or what's going on Instagram. But no, like don't let that distract you. So turn off your notifications on your phone or use a website blocker to avoid online distractions, right? If you want to like sit and do something for a couple minutes, or like put your phone in another room, right? Like if you're in the living room, put it in your bedroom, or like if you're in a bedroom, put it in the living room, whatever. But like don't let it like control you. I know it's hard to say or hard to do, but we gotta do these measures if we think that we're like prone to like grab our phones to Instagram, right? And scroll for like 2 3 hours. Reward yourself. Give yourself small rewards for achieving your goals and completing tasks. I feel like we don't do this enough. We don't give ourselves the credit, the love, right? The props that we deserve. Like we have accomplished so much, we have done so much in life. And I could, say for myself too, we don't celebrate ourselves enough, right? We have to do this more because it could help you, still stay motivated and reinforce positive behaviors, right? You're like, oh, like I'm doing this, I really want to continue doing this because I feel good about it, right? And I could, reward myself for it. Find an accountability partner, right? Like, for example, here we have a community that you could stay accountable, people who are doing the challenge with you can help you like stay on track, if you have any questions, doubts, we have communities. This is why I created this for a community. I've always loved to create communities because I feel like in a community, we're stronger, we're better, right? We have more power. So find someone who encourages you, who's, helps you stay accountable, on track. It could be a family member, mentor, us here, me, and they could provide support and feedback of, what's going on and what you should do. Use visualization. So techniques, right? Visualize what it is that you want. Stay focused, right? Stay motivated. You want that body, you want to look like that. You want this, you want that, you want that house, you want that car, you will want that family, that relationships, etc. Visualize it, right? Visualize yourself achieving that goal and imagine how you will feel when you accomplish it. Right. So like dreaming, I feel like dreaming, sometimes we don't do that enough. And it feels so good to dream. You're like, oh, like you really feel like you're there. You feel like you're in the Bahamas. You feel like you're in a cruise, where you want to go. And it feels so good to just dream, and you manifest it and you feel like you already have it. So you feel that happiness. Use also like positive self-talk, right? And self-image, right? So like believing that you got this, like you look good, you are amazing, you have the things that you need to like get where you want to be. So talk to yourself, right? It can help you stay disciplined, stay encouraged, stay motivated. Like instead of saying, oh, I can't do this, say I can do this, like I got this, right? I'm trying my best and I'm gonna give it my all. And I have it within me to like achieve this goal. So talk to yourself, right? It might be a little weird. Like a lot of people are looking at you. But you got this, right? The power is within you. So, gem takeaway, right? What action could you take right now? Like I said, just like from that list, laundry list that you have of things that you want to accomplish. Um, what action could you take right now that will move you forward, meeting your goals and dreams, right? So just take one step. And I feel like once you take that step and you accomplish it, and you feel like you're on your way to your dream and your goal, like that really helps you, stay consistent and keep moving forward. I feel like we overthink it, and the hardest part sometimes is just starting, right? Starting with that first task because we feel, overwhelmed. We're like, oh, where do I start? Just start. Nobody's perfect. Nobody got their shit together. We're all figuring it out. We're all like, fighting our demons. Everybody's figuring it out. So you can do this too. So just do it. Once you start, you are unstoppable. And remember that your purpose is greater than your doubts and your circumstances, right? Your doubts aren't like they're fake. Like you got this, you have it within you, and your circumstances are temporary. So don't base, your dreams, your goals in temporary circumstances or moods or emotions because they're temporary. They're gonna leave, and your goal and your dream is still gonna be present, and you're not gonna be able to achieve it because you based your results on things that are temporary. Again, thank you so much for being here. It's such a pleasure to be part of this journey with you. Remember, you have the power within you to be all you desire to be. You want to change your life, you have to start by changing yourself, right? How could you change something you don't understand? And this is why we're here. Because you have the gem in you and you have to discover, do the work, and heal. Thank you so much for being here with me, Catherine Fareda. If you need to reach me, my email is geminmeempowers@gmail.com. Thank you for being here and God bless you.